Oh, ho, ho. Wow. Wow, guys.
The thesis behind it is that woke, which seems to be a synonym, I think, for
Anything you don't like.
politically correct or a way of describing people who you feel strain too hard to be right on and to be fans of equality. You see them, I think you see them, and it's never quite clear how far into your cheek your tongue is when you're talking about things like vegan sausage rolls, but you do see them as a genuine threat. I wonder what they're a threat to.
I see it as a genuine threat to freedom of speech, because I think that there's a...
You're calling for them to be quiet.
Well, look, first of all, by the original definition of woke,
yes,
I would happily sign up to being woke. If woke means just being aware to social and racial injustice, then I'm woke. That's not a problem. But that's not what the modern version of woke has become. It's become a very destructive, quite self-harming sort of feeding frenzy based around this cancel culture. And I know you don't really buy into that, but I see it all the time where people are getting more and more cowed about feeling they just can't express an opinion or have a haircut or wear certain culturally inappropriate outfits or, laugh at a certain...
But are they really?
Whatever it may be. And I feel it's self-harming. I don't feel that taking things to that degree brings anybody with you. And if you want to win an argument, you've got to bring people with you.
But the argument for me, and trans is an exception to this observation, because I think that trans issues are very confusing and people scream at each other with a fury of certainty that I can't achieve anything like that level.
Do you think that applies to everything?
No, I really don't. I think trans is very much the exception, and in fact, it's people who are possessed of really toxic and dangerous views regarding race or religion or ethnicity or sexuality. I think they're desperate for trans to be front and center, because then they can claim there's a culture war. But actually, a lot of your arguments work in the context of trans. They don't work in the context of racism or religious bigotry.
Well, they do if you start making a mockery.
Well, that's what I'm coming to. Yes, but that's what I don't get, because all I know of these great battles are what I'm told by media outlets that are literally primed to infuriate and enrage me. And I
followed you on that. And what I would say to you is, you think that they're sort of conflated, they're concocted, they're created by the media, but it wasn't the media that said, for example, that Rule Britannia should be chopped from the proms. It was actually the catalyst, was not the media. It got brought to the media's attention, and the media then had a lot of, play while the sun shone. But I do think it's chicken and the egg, isn't it? There's always something there that starts.
Okay, so name 3 people who, in the public eye, who passionately believe that we shouldn't have sung Land of Hope and Glory at them. And remember, it's an audience sing-along at an event with no audience.
No, sure. Doesn't need to be 3. It just needs to be the person in charge of the production.
Well, no, you're talking about an army of wokies, and I can't think of one person who passionately believed it shouldn't happen.
The person had the power to decide it wasn't going to be a big part of the proms, and then that became a catalyst.
But there was no audience, Piers.
But here's the point I would make to you.
An audience sing-along at an event with no audience.
Then bring somebody in and sing it. You can do that. Yes. I would definitely not.
You can't name anyone who was passionately opposed to it being sung.
I remember her name, the woman who was in charge of the proms. That was the point. Right. And look, you might think it's trivial, but I can tell you, the moment people heard that a quite woke person in charge of the proms had decided we weren't going to be able to sing Rule Britannia, all hell broke loose. But more importantly,
of course it did. That's what I mean by
more importantly for the left and for the wokies, what did it actually achieve? In the end, they do a U-turn, as everybody knew they would. So they don't win. They just have a completely futile war, which is guaranteed to ensure they don't get what they want to get. When was a woke candidate in an election who won? Anything.
I'm still not entirely sure what you mean by woke, and we can hopefully we can use myself as an example on this. But for me, the fact that there was no audience there simply meant that they were changing the way that the event unfolded. The Times, I think, or the Sunday Times got hold of it, turned it into a story. The number of stories you see now about Black Lives Matter are responsible for this review. There's no such thing. Can you name someone who is what you could call a member of Black Lives Matter? And yet every story I read about Nelson being reassessed or statues being protected, I just don't know who these people are. And I sit in newsrooms, and I'm sure you still do too, and I hear people desperately ringing around to try to find someone to represent what you describe as an army. If there's so many of them, why are they so hard to find?
I don't think you need to find anybody. When you have to board up Winston Churchill, Gandhi and Mandela statues in Parliament Square.
But they did that during the Countryside Alliance March.
Of course. I'm not... Listen,
the
right wing can behave far worse than the left wing.
They're right wing. They're just country people. They're just pointing out when there's a big event. They probably boarded up those statues when you were having your big anti-Iraq war march.
Yes. Listen, I'm not saying that everyone's not culpable. I'm not saying I'm not culpable or part of this frenzy and noise. But what I am saying is the illiberal liberal element of wokedom has got completely out of hand. You might not accept it, but go out and ask people, are you sick and tired of this stuff? And they'll tell you they are.
Well, of course they will, because so much effort, it's like Brexit, so much effort has been put into telling people that there's an enemy at the gate. No one's bothered to check whether there actually is. So off the top of your head, who has been cancelled in the United Kingdom?
What do you mean, who's been cancelled?
Well, it's a word you use a lot. You say that James O'Brien...
That's always a bid for time. When whenever somebody does that, when they repeat it's always like, fuck. They're like desperately searching because they know they're supposed to have an answer to this and they don't.
Top of your head, who has been cancelled in the United Kingdom?
What do you mean, who's been cancelled?
Well, it's a word you use a lot. You say that James O'Brien won't be cancelled because he's got such a big platform.
Well, you have. You're not going to get cancelled. Well,
So
what
who
about
has been?
I can't remember the name of the author who got cancelled by...
You're going to have to do better than that, because you say James O'Brien will not be cancelled, but I know loads of people who have been, so just name a few.
Okay, but I can think of one immediately, which is a good example. And actually, you ought to be furious about it. And it was the author. I don't know her name.
Well, it's hardly a massive issue if you can't even remember her name.
Oh, no.
You ought to be furious about it. And it was the author. I don't know her name.
Well, then it's hardly a massive issue if you can't even remember her name.
Massive.
It's a massive issue.
Okay. So the author whose name you can't remember, what did she do?
By her publisher, because the woke staff of the publisher, and there are myriad examples in the book like
But this will be trans, won't it? It won't be any other issue.
It won't be trans.
Yes, because that's the only thing that works.
Because you happen to agree with it.
I don't have a view on trans. I write in my new book about how I can't pick a side.
As I say in the book, you do have a view on trans, and the moment you expressed your view on trans, they tried to cancel you.
No, and let me explain why you got that horribly wrong, if I may. So
I'm looking forward to this.
Well, what I tweeted, as you, and I'm very flattered that there's so many pages dedicated.
About you.
You're always very nice. But I mean, two things I'd pick up first. James O'Brien, who a popular, successful radio presenter, that's fairly uncontroversial. It never crosses O'Brien's mind that he might not be right, or that anyone who disagrees with him might not automatically be a vile bigot. How to be right, which I don't think you've read, is the polar opposite of that. On every page, I know
what you claim to be.
No, it's my book that you've mentioned. I'll tell you what's in it.
There's no relation to any of that.
Let me tell you what's in my book.
You be very self-righteous.
You say that according to Twitter, but my book is about how easy it is to persuade good, decent, non-bigoted, intelligent, fully functioning people of things that aren't true. And then I go through 10 different issues, everything from Winterval, which was a myth, right through to the controls we did and didn't have over immigration, to the meaning of political correctness. And on every single page, or certainly after every single transcript, I say, this is a good person, this is not a stupid person. And yet, under your reading, everyone who disagrees with me must automatically be a vile bigot.
Nobody could read your Twitter feed without drawing the hourly conclusion that you think anybody that voted Brexit, it must be a total moron.
Because no, that's simply not true.
Otherwise,
my best friend voted Brexit. My father-in-law voted Brexit. This is where I'm wasting my breath, because you're saying things that are simply not true to support your thesis. So let's park that and move on to this example that you use.
Again, you think you're right, and you won't countenance.
No, I think I'm right about who I am, Piers, and what I wrote in my book.
Who you are, the same way you're questioning who I am.
Okay, well, I'm right about what's in my book that I wrote and that you haven't read.
But on the transgender thing,
why would you even put it in there if you haven't read it?
Before you move on so fast on the transgender thing, explain.
We're not moving on. I'm coming right to it now. That's absolutely where we are. So what I was under... I was under scrutiny or criticism from people who would be described perhaps as anti-trans or TERFs, and they were asking me, I wish I could ask him what it's like to be a woman. So I explained how confusing I find it all. And there's a chapter on this in my book as well, which would have helped you perhaps understand what I was doing on this occasion. And I said, I don't think it's unreasonable to not let human beings with penises into changing rooms, knowing that the response to that, because we've done it on the radio show, is always, well, who's going to check? And that's the point at which I say, actually, I can simultaneously sustain two contradictory positions here, because A, I don't think it's unreasonable to suggest that people with penises shouldn't be allowed into female changing rooms. B, I can't support any form of underpants police or genital examination before you're allowed into a changing room. And my friend Paris Lees, who you cite here as somehow attacking me or turning on me, well, she makes a brilliant point. She says, who's going to check the contents of my pants? So
yeah, fuck. I was going to say the answer to that is, well, nobody checks now, right? You just kind of trust that everybody sorts themselves out accordingly, right?
Instead of thinking, crikey, that's a really good point, you saw it as evidence of wokeness. So first question would be, who is going to check the evidence of her pants?
Well, these are the questions that have to be asked, aren't they?
What a response.
So first question would be, who is going to check the evidence of her pants?
Well, these are the questions that have to be asked, aren't they?
And I answered them in my new book. Yeah. You don't in yours. So who should check the contents of her pants?
I don't know is the answer. Right, but what I would say...
you do think that it's reasonable to suggest that people with penises shouldn't be allowed into female-only spaces?
Listen, I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm saying when you say there's no such thing as cancel culture, look at the reaction you got.
And I say to you, you can't name anyone, and if you can, it will only be about trans, not about all the other issues, from vegan sausage rolls to Black Lives Matter.
The example I was giving you before you so rudely interrupted me was the writer who got cancelled by her publisher because she retweeted a support for J.K. Rowling, who had similar views about the transgender issue, and women's rights are being damaged by the trans rights lobby. And I have a lot of sympathy with a lot of what she says, not all of it, but most of it. And I do think at the very least, somebody as woke as J.K. Rowling should not end up with a hashtag RIP J.K. Rowling. That is the kind of illiberal fascism, which is the very thing that wokies claim that they detest most in genuine fascists.
But you keep saying wokies, and I keep saying this only works on the trans issue. So give me some examples from other areas. Who's been cancelled? Who's been cancelled
on the trans issue?
No, I've read your book.
I'll give you an example. Radical feminists who want James Bond to be a woman.
Right. Why do you care?
Feminists who want James Bond to be a woman.
Right. Why do you care?
I care because James Bond's a man.
Did you see Glenda Jackson's King Lear?
Yes.
What did you think of it?
It's got nothing to do with James Bond.
It's got quite a lot to do with gender. It's got quite a lot to do with gender.
I've got no problem with a woman spy being a hero. And here's another example. Altrincham School for Girls told all their staff they could no longer use the word girl. And yet the name of the school remains Altrincham School for Girls. But what about the girls' right to be called a girl at that school, given 99% of the kids there are girls. Google.
How many of them have you asked?
Let me finish. You wanted some examples?
I do, but let's examine them one by one. How many of the girls at Altrincham School for Girls have you asked about how they felt about this?
We had a lot of people.
Because it probably came from the pupils.
Hang on. A lot of people from the school contacting us saying it's utterly ridiculous. And what about, they said, why is it that the transgender right, which is just a tiny minority of students, we're able to dictate how everybody got called in the school?
But I'm agreeing with you that when it comes to trans, there is a tension and a confusion and an unresolved animosity between two very, very furiously entrenched camps. But there isn't on anything else. And you've basically written a whole book.
I haven't finished yet.
Oh, sorry.
Google react to radical vegans screaming away by removing the egg from their salad emoji.
So what?
What about my rights as somebody who loves eggs to have the egg in the emoji? Why does a radical vegan get to have it removed when I, like most people in this country, love eggs?
Yes. Have you found your access to eggs in any way limited?
Only when I click on Google. And look
no, your access to actual eggs rather than cartoon representations of them.
My point is, the radical divisions in all these things, and there are much more serious...
But you can't say the radical divisions of all these things when you've conflated transgender with a cartoon of an egg.
I haven't. I've just told you different examples. You said you're only talking about trans.
Because that's the only thing that works. Nobody is cross about an egg emoji. Nobody's cross about that, and you're not really.
Of course they're cross about it, or it wouldn't have been
an emoji of an egg.
Of course.
Right.
If people weren't cross
do you understand why I said I can't tell how much time...
One thing that I've noticed, there's got to be like a formalization of this. There's like there's a thing, and then there's like a concern about a thing, and then those two things often get conflated. Like, there will be like an object, okay, and then there'll be somebody that like observes the object, or there'll be an observation of the object. And many times this thing will be infinitely larger than this thing. This will be massive and this will be not that big. And then people will refer to this thing and they'll say, look at how crazy this is, when in reality they're just referring to this thing. So I feel like what he just brought up as an example of, these are massive issues. And it's like, well, are they really massive issues? Yeah, it's massive. Everybody's talking about it. Well, that doesn't really make it massive, right? The massive thing is just all the people talking about it, right? The thing itself isn't actually massive. People conflate these two things like all the time. And the thing that's irritating about this is intentionally blown up as big as possible because everybody wants to talk about it because it plays into their particular thing. And then this will remain the same size, but as this grows more and more and more, people will talk about how huge of an issue this is. It's very frustrating. I don't know what the there should be a name for this. Somebody make a cute, clever substitution meme.
Time you spend with your tongue in your cheek. I mean, hand on heart, you're really cross that Google removed an egg from their salad emoji.
Hand on heart, on the more serious point.
Yes, as long as it's not trans.
Yes, okay. You can pick any subject you like. Hand on heart, my issue with it all, collectively, is that this kind of nonsense, what it drives is a sense of ongoing, all-encompassing censorship, where companies in particular are now bowing to pressure from the woke brigade to virtue signal their way to a place that I find hellish, where people are being dictated to about every single part of their lives. And most of it is trivial, as you rightly observe, but it's the fact it happens on trivial stuff that A, distracts from the bigger picture, and B, drives people completely nuts and makes them think that they have no ability to have any freedom of speech or expression. And I think...
Just stop talking about it. These things aren't really a big deal, so just stop talking about it. And then people won't feel like they're being distracted or that we're not talking about bigger issues, right?
I think that is legitimately a really serious issue.
But you don't think people should be allowed to say it would be great if James Bond was played by a woman? That's freedom of speech.
What if it happens?
Why not?
Because James Bond's a man.
Yeah.
That's just... Personally, I don't think that James Bond should be cast as a woman. It doesn't seem to be congruent with the character, but James Bond is a fictional character, right? It could be anything. So we have to justify the argument for why it ought to remain male as opposed to being turned female, which I think there are good arguments for, but it can't just be, well, this is what they are. That's not really an argument because it's a fictional character, right?
Played by a woman. That's freedom of speech.
What if it happens?
Why not?
Because James Bond's a man.
Yeah, a fictional man.
He's a man. He was written as a man.
Real.
He's a man.
You're
happy for James Bond to be a woman, are you?
Hand on heart, I could not give a fig, mate.
Okay, I just
if it's a good. Do you know what I'd do? I'd go to the cinema and decide whether it was a good film or not.
You have things that you care about. I have things I care about.
But this is why I like you so much, because I think you really do care about this, and it is. You must, on some level, realise how ridiculous it is, and that's why I have a problem with your book, because the trans issue is profoundly important, and I write very great length and in great detail about it in both the book I published a couple of years ago that you haven't read, and the book that comes out next week. And there's a huge
about your books. If I did, I'd read them.
There's a huge danger of conflating cartoon eggs with young people who feel they've been born into the wrong body.
No, because you decided that that's the one issue that matters.
No, I gave you a lot of space to list all the great crimes committed by wokies, and you come up with James Bond and a cartoon egg, mate.
Go through the more serious things in the book.
Well, what are the more serious things?
Well, let's talk about.
Why do you can also tell when people are floundering when you're asking for examples. Like, okay, well, that's not even a good one. Okay, fine, that's not even a good one. But there's even worse things. Like, why wouldn't you lead? You know that psychologically we tend to lead with our strongest examples, right? Like this is a heuristic. Okay, I wouldn't apply this and say this is 100% true, but as a heuristic, when somebody comes up to you and they start talking about something, usually you lead with your strongest things. Like, oh, you hate your, like, here's a sentence that could be said, and here's a sentence that will never be said, right? Oh, I fucking hate my husband. Why do you hate your husband? He beats the shit out of me every day. He gets drunk and he beats the shit out of me. And the house is just fucking disgusting. He doesn't pull his own weight around the house or anything. And it's just, I hate everything, right? That's a sentence that could be said. Here's a sentence that will never be said, okay? Oh, I hate my husband. Why do you hate your husband? It's just the house is a mess all the time. He doesn't pull his weight around the house. And he beats the shit out of me. Like, that's a joke. The thing that I just said at the end could be a joke because it's a literal misdirection because it's not how you would expect somebody to speak. So it's always funny when you're in a debate or a conversation with somebody, and then after you've gone through some dog shit examples, like, okay, those aren't even the best examples. Wait, then why did you lead with that then? What do you mean? Then why would you even say them? What are you talking about?
Because you decided that that's the one issue that matters.
No, I gave you a lot of space to list all the great crimes committed by wokies, and you come up with James Bond and a cartoon egg, mate.
Go through the more serious things in the book.
Well, what are the more serious things?
Well, let's talk about
apart from trans.
Let's talk about racism and the reaction to George Floyd's plea. And the ridiculous way it went away from being a battle for racial equality and racial justice into utter ridiculous.
I personally don't really like the grayification of reality to suit whatever community gets to claim they're repressed this decade, though you're obviously right about it being overblown. I mean, like, is it kind of cringe? Yeah, but that's about as far as it goes. It is kind of cringe. Also, everybody loves to victimize themselves, my friend. Everybody. It's like part of, like, how many Jewish holidays are about people, like, trying to get killed and then they'd survive and then they, the candle lasted longer than they thought. They didn't have enough oil and all that bullshit, like, and... or in Catholicism even. Bro, I remember we spent so much time talking about they persecuted us. This woman was so brave. Not only was she brave enough to be martyred, she sat and she watched her 5 children being boiled alive. That's how brave she was. The martyrs of the church. They're so brave as they persecuted us. The Inquisition and everything was so horrible. They killed us. Oh, like, everybody, this is like part of everybody's fucking story, bro. I don't know. People like that shit.
About anything that anybody in the world on the woke side decided was racist and had to be cancelled.
For example?
We ended up focusing on Rule Britannia, Faulty Towers, statues were being destroyed all over America, famous presidents, with the most tenuous links in some cases to slavery. Over here, Winston Churchill being boarded up and Mandela being boarded up.
Yeah, but we're back there again. They always
the whole
board them
thing
up.
got completely crazy because and the damage is done to the actual cause.
I hear you. I don't buy it, but I think you're sincere. I mean, okay, so final question. Can you name any major public figures who think that statues of Winston Churchill should be taken down?
Oh, no.
Yes.
Go on.
Interview them on the show.
Who?
Oh, he's going to have one.
Andy Andrews, the professor.
He is the guy that every producer in the country will tell you, and we can't find anybody to pursue this point. That's the person we call. And I did say public figures.
The Winston Churchill statue was defaced. It was
by an idiot student. I sometimes think if you'd been to university, you'd realise that idiot students have been around forever, and giving them this level of profile and importance and treating them as if they're a threat to civilization as we know it is their dream come true, Piers.
There are lots of people who think that Winston Churchill is the problem when it comes to the race debate, to which I say, actually, he got rid of the worst races ever.
But there aren't, though. There might be some dozy undergraduates who've read the wrong books and haven't actually grown up yet. But my attitude would always be, oh, bless them, they'll grow out of it. Yours is, oh,
based and true. Kids are fucking retarded. Treat them as retards, okay? You think that's so cute. You'll grow out of it. You'll be fine.
My God, they're destroying civilization as we know it, and we must stop them now.
You realise that when I wrote the book,
yes,
people like you were the people I really wanted to read it.
Yes.
Because I knew you'd react like this.
But I'm reacting with great affection and amusement. No, seriously, I promise you, I'm never going to look at a cartoon egg in the same way. I'm not outraged, but just because you use me as an example, I didn't recognise your account, not least because Paris Lees remains a very good friend of mine, and she made an extremely good point about the underpants police. So I couldn't work out whether or not I'm being held up as an example of being woke or a victim of cancel culture.
I think you were an ironic victim of cancel culture, which you don't think exists.
Yes, except on trans issues.
Well, I've given an example where on trans issues, which is the only issue you seem to care about.
No, well, I care about it more than eggs. Forgive me. Cartoon eggs.
Yeah, Well, you only care about things that you care about. And
Nonsense. I care about equality and decency and honesty and integrity and accountability.
Your shtick is to be blindly partisan about an issue.
So isn't.
And by the way, you do it very well.
No, but I don't do that at all.
You will never.
Why do you have to do this? There's lots of things you can criticise me for without making stuff up. You've made up stuff in the book. You don't have to make up stuff here.
What stuff have I made up in the book?
I love being wrong. Well, you said that everybody who doesn't agree with me, I consider to be an uneducated bigot, whereas the book you're actually referring to when you say that is full of explanations.
I read your Twitter feed.
Well, my Twitter feed, honestly, mate.
Every day.
Life's too short.
Permanently.
Do you know what we've done? We're not going to have any time to talk about Trump. So the three areas on my Twitter feed, the three areas upon which you've historically sought to lock horns with me were the utter, the way that Donald Trump's depravity outside the White House would make it absolutely clear to anybody honest how completely dangerous he would be inside the White House, that the Brexit that people voted for was absolutely impossible to deliver, and that Boris Johnson was supremely unfit for office. What did I get wrong?
Well, you're always right about everything. You know?
No, just on those three.
Oh, no.
The utter, on my Twitter feed, the three areas upon which you've historically sought to lock horns with me were the utter, the way that Donald Trump's depravity outside the White House would make it absolutely clear to anybody honest how completely dangerous he would be inside the White House, that the Brexit that people voted for was absolutely impossible to deliver, and that Boris Johnson was supremely unfit for office. What did I
Jesus.
get wrong?
Oof.
Well, you're always right about everything. You know?
No, just on those three issues, which are the only things you've ever tweeted
The
me
thing you
about.
got wrong is that you refused to accept the result of the referendum.
No, I didn't.
What?
That's not what I asked you. I said that the people weren't going to get the Brexit that they voted for. They're not, are they?
Of course not. But
So you agree with me?
of course, you know I agree with you about Brexit.
And Trump?
Trump, as you know, I've known him a long time. I see good and bad in him, and I think he may lose the election for all the bad side of him coming to the fore. But I don't see him as bad as you do, but I don't see him as good as he sees himself.
And Boris Johnson's fitness for office?
Boris Johnson's turned out to be an absolute clinker.
Damn. Well. IDF just released footage of tunnel with hostages.
In the next couple of minutes, we're gonna go down
Oh, Jesus. These are the guys that got killed.
into the tunnel room in a house. Those murder downstairs floor. This is
This long and ends in a blocked iron door.
Iron?
About 120 meters long and ends in a blocked iron door. This short blocked part of the tunnel is where the hostages were held and murdered.
we know that between 2 to 6 terrorists for forensics, for intelligence, Quran books, a hairbrush.
My God.
We need to check who used it.
Not the
But
hairbrushes.
there were women here. Of Hirsch. We need to check who used it. But there were women here.
Just because there's a dress, you're going to assume that?
Ori, terrorists, them back home alive.
Man, the most tragic thing about this is I'm pretty sure, didn't they say that these hostages were killed like 2 days before they got to them? So it's not like they were killed and they stashed the bodies. These guys were murdered like right before. Well, probably because the IDF was coming, I'm guessing, huh? That's pretty fucked. Why do you drop vids while you're streaming? Doesn't that hurt the views on the vids? I don't know. Ask August. My guess is going to be live stream audiences and VOD viewing audiences are probably quite different, right? If I'm getting 100 to 250,000 views a video and I only have like 6,000 people watching live right now, it's not playing into it that much. Wait, really? Tenet reporter Taylor Hansen claimed YouTube banned him after indictment, but YouTube confirmed he deleted his own channel in an apparent attempt to hijack victimhood and garner support for his new Rumble channel. Wait, what? Hold on. He's saying that he didn't actually delete his... Or, wait, hold on. I don't understand this article. A YouTube spokesperson confirmed that Hansen closed his personal account and that it had not been banned. The Taylor USA channel was deleted by its owner on September 6th. The YouTube spokesperson wrote in an email. Hi there, I wanted to jump on and clarify. The screenshot you shared shows a notice that we sent on September 5th after the termination of Tenet Media and associated channels, including a Taylor Hansen channel with 0 uploads or... Oh, what a sneaky little fucking cuck. Unbelievable. Oh, I hope they terminate his main channel. Because I was going to say, it sounds like the writer of this article is being very sneaky and saying, well, they didn't technically delete his channel. They just said that it was going to be permanently banned and then he deleted it. But it's like, does that really matter? But it looks like this notice that he got, this was for another channel. So these nicknames here are just going to be what you name your channel, but it might not necessarily be the actual channel's ID.
It's permanently banned on YouTube. No explanation at all. It says I can never own a channel or operate a channel ever again, so that's lovely. Obviously admits the DOJ indictment of the alleged activities of Russian funding. Tenet Media was banned almost immediately. Lauren Chen was banned almost immediately, and now I was banned with no explanation, even though the indictment states, if these charges are true, these allegations are true, we're all victims, the people that were hosts there and me as a reporter there. So it's interesting. It seems like the censorship czar is back out in full force. It's election season, baby. So yeah, banned with no explanation. I wonder if they're going to stop here, or are they just going to take it all the way? They're going to ban anyone that was ever affiliated with this brand. Which is absolutely mind-boggling to me, but there you go. Permanently banned. You gotta love it. I love America, y'all. Censorship is great.
What an unbelievable little piece of shit. YouTube responded this morning about 20 hours ago, or I guess this would have been yesterday night. Hi there, just wanted to jump in and clarify. The screenshot you shared shows a notice that we sent on September 5th after the termination of Tenet Media and associated channels, including a Taylor Hansen channel with 0 uploads or subscribers. It looks like a separate channel, Taylor USA, was deleted by its owner on September 6th. These guys are shameless. Shameless. This is what I mean when I say conservatives have absolutely no shame. I don't understand. Did he delete the wrong account? No. Let me explain. Imagine I work for a company, okay? We'll call it Southern Media. Imagine I work for Southern Media and it comes out that my boss, okay, Lori, gets indicted for doing a bunch of Russian nonsense. And then let's say that that account, Southern Media, gets terminated, okay? And then the associated accounts that were also made under that brand also get terminated. Well, let's say that I have an account, okay, that I made under that brand, because brands can be managed by single accounts. You can have brand accounts on YouTube. And I called that account like Stephen Bonnell or whatever. Well, what happened is all of the accounts that were tied to that brand account got taken off YouTube, all right? Well, I see that, and then I get an email saying, hey, Stephen Bonnell, your account has been terminated. It's like, oh, shit, I got... Wait, hold on. I got a great idea. What the fuck? I just want a big version of the meme. Give me a big version of the meme. Okay, great idea, all right. What if I delete my main channel and then show people on Twitter the email that I got for the brand channel? Then it'll look like YouTube deleted my main channel. Because if you try to go to my main channel, it'll be deleted. Boom. That's what he tried to do, okay? Is a live debate watch party going to be on YouTube, Kick, or other space? I'll try to stream it on YouTube tonight. And then for every single person that complained about me not streaming on YouTube, I will permaban them if I end up getting a 1 week suspension. Or if I do get a week suspension, I'm taking a week off stream. I'm probably going to go overseas, or I'm just going to travel to some other state. I'm going to do whatever. I'm not streaming on Kick or any of the fuck thing else. Because every other time before this, people have been getting banned for restreaming debates, and I think on the last one, I opted to just stream it on Kick. And then 85 of you 75 IQ, knuckle-dragging, mouth-breathing dipshits were posting in the server like, I can't believe Dusty's so fucking stupid that he didn't know, blah, blah, blah. So I will stream it on YouTube this time, and if I get the copyright warning, I'm just going to stream through it until my channel gets clapped for a week, and then I'm going to vacation for a week and peace the fuck out. So good luck. Destiny, we have permanently removed your channel from YouTube. Going forward, you won't be able to access, possess, or create any other YouTube channel. Doesn't this mean that he couldn't use his main channel, though? No. What I'm guessing is... fuck. The way that it's set up is you can have a... You can create a YouTube account, and now ordinarily with a YouTube account, you can create a YouTube channel, generally. However, a YouTube account can also create these things called brand channels. And a single account can be the creator of multiple brand channels. And I believe you might be able to associate different emails with these, as secondary emails if you want for communications. If this account here gets clapped, this main account gets clapped, all the brand channels are going to get clapped as well. And if all these brand channels get clapped, then there's going to be emails going out to all of them. However, just because you were helping to manage a brand, like one of these channels here, doesn't mean that all of your main channels are going to get banned that aren't even associated with that, right? So that guy's lying. Now, this guy who owned this brand account up here, the one that managed all the brand accounts, if this guy made a new account, he would get banned. So no, the Taylor guy's a lying little cuck piece of shit. Biden took Chinese money confirmed. How do you feel? If this is coming out of a House Republican committee, oh, and it is. Oh, thank God. I'm always worried sometimes that like it's gonna come out that that Biden actually did fuck around or like some bad shit comes out. If he's saying it though, like now I can be so confident that this never happened. Thank God. I can be so confident that this never happened. Oh, November. Oh, this is the stupid thing that we saw before. Oh, I'm so glad you bring this up. Remember, okay? Remember, okay? Don't treat conservatives seriously. They don't deserve it, okay? Remember this, okay? This here, Russia money to Tenet Media, to Tim Pool, where the money was sent from a Russian company to Tenet Media to pay Tim Pool. Okay, remember, this here, how could he have known? This here is impossible. There's no, come on, we wouldn't hold this guy accountable. How could he possibly have known? But this is actually completely legitimate.
Told the American people that his son didn't make any money in China?
My son has not made money in terms of this thing about, what are you talking about, China?
Well, not only did he lie about his son Hunter making money in China, but it also turns out that $40,000 in laundered China money landed in Joe Biden's bank account in the form of a personal check.
$40,000? first of all, I'd say it's kind of a small amount of money for the president, but okay, talk to me. That's pretty bad. So did it go through a shell company and then get paid to Biden? Did a Chinese official pay him directly, or?
And the Oversight Committee has it. Here's how Joe Biden benefited from his family's shady deal with CEFC, a Chinese Communist Party linked company. It all began.
Ooh, Chinese Communist Party linked company. It sounds a little dumber, but still possible. Okay.
began with a shakedown in the summer of 2017 when Hunter Biden sent a message to his CEFC associate demanding a $10 million capital payment. As Hunter Biden extorted this associate, Hunter claimed he was sitting with his father and that the Biden network would turn on his associate if he didn't pony up the money.
Okay.
The extortion scheme worked. Days later, $5 million flowed in from a Chinese affiliate of CEFC.
Are we just going to blow past that? What was the extortion scheme? Okay.
Over the following 3 weeks, Biden family members made a series of complicated financial transactions to hide the source of the China money.
Okay.
Here's how that happened.
But you've uncovered it. Okay. Well, are we like going through like Bitcoin, like Tumblr sites or what? Okay, let's see what's going on.
First, Northern International Capital, a Chinese company associated with CEFC, wired $5 million to Hudson West 3, a joint venture established by Hunter Biden and a CEFC associate. Then Hudson West 3 sent $400,000 to an entity owned and controlled by Hunter Biden.
Okay.
Next, Hunter Biden wired $150,000 to Lion Hall Group, a company owned by James and Sarah Biden. Sarah Biden then withdrew $50,000 in cash from Lion Hall Group.
All right.
Later the same day, she deposited it into her and James Biden's personal checking account.
All right.
A few days later, Sarah Biden cut a check to Joe Biden for $40,000.
Remember, this impossible. This is an imperceptible amount of money transfer. The fact that 90% of what was being paid out from this company to Tenet was being paid to talent, 50% of the total amount, okay? It was impossible for him to know about this. This is an impossible link. How could any person know about this? But this, you're going to tell me the Bidens didn't know what was going on here when $5 million went from this company to a joint venture between Hunter and his partner, and then a $400,000 made from that joint venture to a company that Hunter owned, and then a $150,000 disbursement was made to another company owned by two other family members, and then a $50,000 withdrawal was made by those two family members, and then it went into a personal bank account, and then they wrote a $40,000 check to Joe Biden. You're going to tell me that that's not incredibly obvious? What do you mean? Obviously, there was a $5 million shakedown here, which he initially said was $10 million. Of course, there was a $5 million shakedown here in order to get $40,000 to Joe Biden. Wow, that's a lot of pay for bad transactions, I guess.
The memo line of the check said loan repayment.
Oh, I'm sure. And I'm sure that if we were to go through the financial records, because Comer is a man of honor and great dignity, I'm sure that if we were to go through the financial records of these companies, there aren't dozens or hundreds of transactions between this firm and this firm, or this firm and this firm, or this firm and their firm, or these people's bank accounts, or I'm sure that there aren't like hundreds or thousands of transactions along the way here. I'm sure that it was just literally one transaction to this company, one transaction to this one transaction to this one to this one, and then they pay Joe Biden with the dirty Chinese money, right?
For $40,000. The memo line of the check said loan repayment. Like the payment to Joe from AmeriCorps funds, it's certainly plausible that this payment where James and Sarah used funds from China was indeed a loan payment to Joe. But even if this...
Okay. Also, it's possible that literally all of this is on the up and up, but...
$40,000 check was a loan repayment from James Biden. It still shows how Joe benefited from his family cashing in on his name, with money from China, no less. Without his family peddling his name and his son threatening a CEFC associate with consequences that he said Joe Biden knew about, James wouldn't have had the money to write the $40,000 check to
Do we even know that? How much money is in these accounts at any point in time?
his brother Joe. It's also worth remembering that Biden family efforts to secure millions from this Chinese company began when Joe Biden was still vice president.
Good morning. I'm here today to answer at a public hearing any legitimate questions Chairman Comer and the House Oversight Committee may have for me. I'm here today to make sure that the House Committee's illegitimate investigations of my family do not proceed on distortions, manipulated evidence, and lies. And I'm here today to acknowledge that I've made mistakes in my life and wasted opportunities and privileges I was afforded. For that, I'm responsible. For that, I'm accountable. And for that, I'm making amends. But I'm also here today to correct how the MAGA right has portrayed me for their political purposes. I am first and foremost a son, a father, a brother, and a husband from a loving and supportive family. I'm proud to have earned.
So Comer, I guess the Republicans wanted Hunter to show up for a closed-door committee hearing, and instead he goes to Capitol Hill with the press, and he's like, let's do an open-door hearing. And they refused to hear him. They didn't want to do it. They didn't want to have a public hearing. And the reason why they didn't want to have a public hearing is because they're Finkelsteins. And they are, and you can see, I skimmed. I'll be honest, I skimmed. Maybe at some point we'll get to it. Probably not, though. I would never imagine burdening myself, wasting my life reading anything written by House Republicans. Christ, what a torturous experience that would be. But the reason why they like to do things in closed-door hearings is so that they can have, so they can pick and choose what things they want to publish. They can pick and choose which things they want to show to make people look a particular way, right? Oddly enough, funnily enough, the same thing that they accused the Democrats of doing with the J6 committee. Now that I've been fucking digging into this for 12 trillion fucking hours, and by that I mean 6 hours on stream because we waste all of our time, what the fuck were they ever talking about? Because for every single piece of testimony we're getting here, I can look at the full deposition that was posted on the file archive. What exactly were they saying was hidden from the J6 committee, or that the J6 committee didn't post? What is the conservative claim there? Have you heard about J.D. Vance claiming Haitian immigrants are eating people's pets in Ohio? Yeah, I like honey, so I'm not speaking out against Big Haiti, all right? I don't want them to come eat my lovely cat.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Excuse me, Hunter. Apparently you're afraid of my words.
Whoa! Oh.
I'd like to reclaim my time, Mr. Chairman.
Burst their bubble. Wow, that's too bad.
Chair recognizes Ms. Green from Georgia.
I think it's clear and obvious for everyone watching this hearing today that Hunter Biden is terrified of strong conservative Republican women because he can't even face my words as I was about to speak to him. What a coward.
I hate these people. It wasn't always this bad, right? It couldn't have been. It wasn't this bad under Bush, right? Did it start under Obama? McConnell was pretty bad under Obama. But it wasn't this, was it? Well, fuck, I don't know. Taylor responded to my tweet and he said, I'd say read the statement, including the article, but the author didn't publish it. LOL, this is my statement I provided. I'm working with YouTube to figure out what is happening, as I did not personally delete anything. I received an email stating that I was permanently banned and could never operate a YouTube account again. Upon attempting to log in afterwards, my account no longer existed. The idea that I deleted my own channel is laughable from an independent standpoint. YouTube is far better for views and monetization than Rumble, and I already had a curated audience on my channel. Now I have to restart from scratch on a platform that is significantly harder to grow on. I will update you with any additional information that YouTube provides on the issue. I am making contact with YouTube YouTube about the issue because, like I said, I did not personally delete anything. The narrative that I'd throw away a channel that was near monetization standards right after I lost my job and replace it with one where I can't make money is funny, though. To resolve the issue, I will gladly return to YouTube. Wait, wait, so his main account wasn't even monetized? Wait, what the did this channel have like 8,000 subs? The Tea Party was really the coalescing of this dumb thought? Maybe, dude. I was a huge Tea Party guy. My God. Do you remember when Glenn Beck did the, oh, God, what was that Glenn Beck march thing called? He really wanted to be the Tea Party leader. I don't know what happened to him. Was it like a March for America? No, fuck, what was it called? Or like Freedom? It's probably had some stupid fucking... It had Freedom or Truth or March or America or...
Hello, America. We are from Washington, D.C., where...
For months, Glenn Beck has urged the millions of people in his audience to rally this weekend on...
What's the Tea Party? Let's see. Let me dig back into my brain. Hey, them too, buddy. Here's to that cheers. Good job. You spelled two wrong, dipshit. Foreign currency? ESL doesn't count. The Tea Party started as a like quasi-libertarian movement because Glenn Beck called himself a libertarian back then, and I think they wanted to kind of branch off from the Republican Party or force the Republican Party to adhere to more libertarian things. But I don't know what like the inciting moment was or why they started to branch off. Like I don't think Rush Limbaugh was ever a big Tea Party supporter, was he? I feel like when I was listening to online. Or when I was listening to, not online, it would have been radio talk show hosts. I feel like Glenn Beck was the huge conservative figure that pushed the Tea Party really hard. I don't feel like I ever heard Rush Limbaugh speak like super favorably or speak a lot about it. This movement formed in opposition to the policy of Democratic President Barack Obama. By then, I might not just listen to as much talk radio, though, so maybe it was the Restoring Honor Rally. That's what it was called. Does seeing Republican politician conduct motivate you more for this canvassing operation stuff? I mean, I will do the canvassing thing. I really don't know. I've said this before a few times, and it really is mind fucking me that like the bigger investment and the bigger motivation that I thought would help me be more constructive and positive in terms of arguments that I would build for America, because I feel like I'm too destructive or too deconstructive or negative, I guess, in debates. Actually just made me really hate all the people involved. Whereas before, I think it was easier for me to see people as misguided humans. Now I'm just like filled with hatred for people that I feel as like traitors to the country. Although really the hatred should just be reserved for content creators. The individuals, like the fans of these channels are still just misguided. But Jesus, it's hard to, like at some point, like the average German citizen that was, telling on his Jewish neighbor, like these guys were just misguided as well. But I mean, like, at what point do you not? Ugh. Thoughts on removing anonymity from social media? I don't know. I just clipped this for the next Piers show. You're comparing Trump supporters to Nazis. I'm so glad I was able to bring that Nazi endorsement thing back to the music thing. I shouldn't have taken the... I don't like shows where I can't live fact check. I should have looked at the... I haven't even looked this up yet, but in retrospect now, I'm wondering, when he kept saying over and over again that Kamala was like accepting his endorsement as like a glow... I'm curious now, what did she actually say? Like... did Kamala give a full-throated, actually, we've always loved Dick Cheney, and he's a cool dude, and he's so great? Or was it just like, I'm proud that some Republicans are standing up against Trump, and yeah. Kamala Harris accepts Cheney endorsement. It takes a lot of time and effort to learn all the facts and shit. I get that, but it's not like these Trumples don't have the time or don't want to make the effort. They spend so much time deep diving into random conspiracy shit and watching all these losers for hundreds of hours. I've got no sympathy, to be honest. Fuck them all. No, you should have sympathy for them. The issue is that they are inundated with all of this bad media. And once you start to go down that road, it's very, very, very hard not to continue to go down that road. Once you get like one bad fact, it's very easy to accept the second one. And then by the third and fourth, you're like so far down a certain road. And especially when, keep in mind that there's another thing to keep in mind too. They're not watching content creators that are just giving them information for them to draw conclusions from. They're watching people that are engaged in intentional, deceptive misinformation or disinformation campaigns, right? The mainstream and the alternative conservative media right now, okay, and this is not a conspiracy, it's just proven, they are intentionally trying to deceive their audiences. That is an intentional thing. We know this, at the very least, from the Dominion lawsuit for Fox News. We know that they are knowingly and intentionally lying and deceiving people. We know this from watching the hearings with Trump's attorneys and the attorneys working for the attorneys, that they are knowingly lying and deceiving the audience. So like the idea that like, I can't believe they believe this shit. Well, I mean, I guess I kind of do believe. I understand why they believe it, because you literally have a whole media apparatus that's built to lie about it and to tell people lies about it. Given the greatly expanded ability to propagandize to people, have your views on organizing media / social media changed significantly? Yeah, I feel like they've been changing. Like, nobody's moved me off that point, and I haven't heard a compelling argument that every single media figure should be forced to, at the very least to a government organization, disclose their income sources. I think that should be required. And if you lie about it, you're gone. You're not allowed to work in media anymore. Within reason, if you fuck up or are late enough filing, obviously. But like for a criminal thing, yeah, you should be. Oh, and yeah, I wish I could have remembered that, because David Duke, I wanted to bring up the Proud Boys. You guys are upset because Kamala Harris didn't tell Dick Cheney to fuck off when he just endorsed her. But Donald Trump literally told the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by, a group that was the first people inside the Capitol, that were the first breachers into the Capitol. Wait, what? Wow. Where is the, what the fuck? I was actually curious why Destiny didn't bring up Trump's David Duke endorsement fiasco. Honestly, I thought about it, but then I also remembered, and I didn't want to go down the whole rabbit hole on this because I just don't remember it all. Because I also remembered for David Duke, didn't they have the, wasn't there like a picture of David Duke and the Clintons at like their wedding or some bullshit? If somebody, like if one of the conservatives would have brought that up, I don't know, I wouldn't even know what the fuck to say. It's fucking retarded. I really truly do think that it's one of the few lessons I got from Ron Paul that I remember, because I think it was either David Duke or the KKK or somebody endorsed Ron Paul in like 2008. And I remember because I was a big Ron Paul fan. So every time the media was mean to Ron Paul, I was like, the media, they're out to get him. They don't like my boy because he's a goddamn libertarian. He's a baby deliverer. How can you hate this man? Okay, he's trying to put us back on the gold standard. He loves America. And but his response I thought was fine. Ron Paul's response was, hey, listen, I'll take any endorsement I get. Doesn't mean I accept their views. Doesn't mean I think their views are good, but I'm not going to go around disavowing endorsements. That's stupid. If somebody wants to endorse me, I gladly accept it. I think people should vote for me. If somebody endorses me, then that helps me get elected, and I think that my policies are good for America, so that's what I want. Yeah. If you're a horrible person and you endorse me, fine. I'm not going to reject your endorsement, but I'm not going to agree with the things that you stand for, you know? Yeah. Why are a lot of far-right people endorsing Kamala? People like Richard Spencer, Richard Hanina. I thought the Richard Hanina guy, or Hanina, I can't pronounce his name. Didn't he say he was voting conservative? Richard Spencer is a wild ball. I can't tell if he's actually like moved over to some liberal position. He seems to have been pretty consistent on it for the last couple of years. I don't know. Some people on the far right are doing it because Trump's not like racial enough for them. Because like I said before, Trump's probably not actually racist. He's probably like, at worst, Trump's probably like old timer racist. I don't think he's actually racist. I don't think you can work in that much, live in New York for that long and be like an actual racist piece of shit. I think that's pretty hard. Especially as a wealthy dude. But I don't know. I could be wrong. But yeah, I don't think Trump is like as like Nazi enough for a lot of these super far right people. So people feel a little bit ass pained. And Mega Airhead, thanks for the 5 gifted memberships. Spencer is still pretty anti-Semitic. Listen, if you want to be anti-Semitic, go for it. Just don't have all the weird conspiracies, okay? I'm going to be honest. I'm a little anti-Semitic after being in Israel for 2 weeks, okay? Do you know how hard it is to schedule any interviews or do anything fucking Friday and Saturday? Holy shit, it's actually so fucking annoying. For a country that was supposedly founded by secular Jews, these fucking retards are obsessed with their Friday and Saturday Sabbath bullshit. Oh my God, it's actually so cringe. Like hardcore obsessed with it. So if you want to be anti-Semitic, you can be anti-Semitic. You just don't have to have the weird conspiracies about them controlling the world. Okay, you can just hate Jews all on their own. Okay, it's fine. You don't need no cultural Bolshevism, no Jewish master race controlling everything. No. I couldn't believe when Jill Stein said that Kamala has no policies on her site. Like, did she not click the link at the top that says issues? Yeah, it would be really fun to have a big one-on-one Jill Stein debate, but... Would you debate Parker? If you really wanted to, but that guy seems very debate bro-brained. Like, I can have a good conversation, but I don't know if it would become wacky or wild on his end. I'm not sure. I don't know. Did you see that Milo put out a serious challenge to Fuentes so you can have a baby first? I saw that, but I don't believe the challenge was serious because Milo was offering to bet $250,000, and there's no way that guy has more than $500 to his name right now. I don't believe it. Actually, I need to stop saying that now because now I actually don't know. I don't know how many people. My mind is so blown right now. I guess I just didn't consider the fact that other countries would actually pay that much money. I probably even said this before. Dave Rubin is probably not doing too hot. But I guess he's doing amazingly. He just made $5 million last year. Jesus. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how many of these guys get paid by how many different sources. It's fucking crazy. Who the fuck knows? Have you thought of trying to speak directly to Piers? I noticed the other creators sneak in a Piers. You have to understand. Or do you prefer to debate the other pundits? I usually just try to pick out the easy. You're going for clips. The Piers show is that's a clip farmer show. That's me realizing how much IDF money he left on the table. True, actually. I am a little insulted that they didn't even reach out. Like, I feel like I would be a prime target for... Israeli propaganda. I was in the country, so you could have met with me personally, so there'd be no record of the conversation. I'm business savvy. I know how to use encrypted apps. I could hide that shit so easy. 1,000,000,000%. You'd never catch me doing shit like that. And I make enough money at home doing my authentic shit. You could even that money could be going to an offshore. You could be depositing this in a Swiss bank account for me, and I'd be happy as long as it's sitting there growing somewhere. I'm such a great, and I already largely align with a lot of Israeli messaging. I've got more credibility than basically anybody else in this fucking industry. I'm such a good candidate for propaganda. Why didn't anybody reach out to me? Hello, this coincides with what I said before. Jews suck at propaganda. Okay, if the Mossad didn't reach out to me, I'm the canary in the coal mine. If I ever start saying one day, I'm like, you know what, actually the Jews are better at propaganda than I gave them credit for, then you'll know that's your canary. They've reached out to me to offer me something. But until they haven't even tried, fuck you guys. Have you released your taxes yet? It would be powerful to call people out live from now on. Have I released my taxes? No, I've never released my taxes. technically, without getting, or they don't ever watch my stream. Technically, when I call people out to do that, it wouldn't actually be enough. We would have to. What you would actually need is you need like a financial audit. Let me see. I'm trying to think of, because if you look at my taxes, no, that's going to show every 1099. You would also need the 11. Is it 1140S? What's the business filing one? Hold on, I don't fucking remember. No, 1150S. Am I just making this up? Does anybody know what the fuck tax form I'm talking about? What's the one that you file for a business, for a small business? S Corp filing form. Nope, not the election form. Would it be the LLC one? Business, 1120S. Yeah. So you'd need this to see all the different payments you'd need. The 1040 alone wouldn't be enough. You'd need an 1120S, but then also the 1120S wouldn't actually show you money that's being routed through another source. So for instance, let's say that I'm taking money from my PayPal account. Well, you'd also probably want to get an accounting of what's in my PayPal account, right? Because let's say I transfer $1 million from my PayPal to my business. Okay, well, that income shows up on my 1120S and then it'll flow through to my 1040, but you don't know where the PayPal money is coming from, right? And you could arguably even make the same case that money that I'm getting paid by, let's say that I do work for, well, for me personally, I don't get paid by any other large sources except for Soros and Progressive Victory. You wouldn't really actually know where the money is coming from another business too, so it could be improper, and you would have to audit their financial records to find out. No, actually for me though, I'm pretty sure all of my income just comes through Kick and it's Kick, YouTube, and PayPal. I think are probably my only sources, no? Because I haven't had sponsors or whatever the fuck in forever. Patreon, I think goes through my PayPal, or Dan is like writing me checks now for that. Ground News, I have no idea what they pay. That's all on Bridges stuff. Bridges is a separate business from my Destiny business. No sponsors on purpose, or no one is reaching out. Some people reach out, but I don't. I'm crazy. Okay, I don't want to ever have a conversation with a sponsor where fuck all that shit. It's too much. I'm too hot to handle. Maybe on Bridges sometime we'll get like real sponsors. Illuminator, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Wouldn't your idea massively disincentivize money in online politics and other things, since companies could see it as a greater risk now that it's all out in the open? Well, I mean, that's why I'm saying it could be reported to a government agency as well, maybe. Do you think Charlie will send his kids to college or be a proud plumber or be a proud plumber father? Who's Charlie? Do you lose a lot of money converting currencies with PayPal? I don't think so. I don't know. I'd have to go check. Maybe. Why not create your own merch instead of courting sponsors? I've got 2 people. I have a new person that's working on merch. I think we ordered some samples. And then I think Nino is doing another drop in a couple months. And we'll go from there. We'll see how that works. Do you believe Chris Raygun's claims here?
Now, this is a story all about how several years back I got an email from some shady people with a lot of power who said you can make a ton of money towing the Conservative Party line and we'll make sure that happens for you. And I said, nah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be beholden to any fucking buddy but me. And I refused that offer, and the years went by, and it's become very fucking clear who the people were who just did not refuse that money. And it's fucking actually wildly obvious, and it's kind of sad.
Okay, based.
On the mall in Washington. Not for any political reason, Beck always says this is about honor.
We must restore honor.
Honor, of course, is not a partisan
honor
concept, but the headline speaker at this nonpartisan rally will be Sarah Palin.
Hi, folks.
And if the gathering isn't political, no one told the Tea Party.
We are going to make a huge statement this year to the government.
A Tea Party that has organized busloads of supporters hoping for a show of strength.
We are here to take back our...
Is it possible the goal of the Russians was to get caught funding pundits? Everyone paranoid of the media being paid off serves their interests of division. I mean, like I said, I think it all serves their interests at the end of the day because we're not very united. They could do almost anything and it would fuck with us at this point.
Country, we are going to flip the House and the Senate in the fall.
Still, nothing about this rally would have raised much concern until critics pointed to the calendar. Saturday is the 47th anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech.
This is where I will appropriately be standing down.
Beck called the timing an accident, but drove his critics crazy with this.
We reclaim the civil rights movement.
He would be the last guy to be able to claim it.
Critics like the Reverend Al Sharpton say that Beck, who has described the president as
a racist
and who has railed against government programs for the poor, has no business invoking Dr. King.
We wanted to bring the poor of America to Washington for the federal government to deal with that. Well, that's what Glenn Beck calls communism and socialism.
However Glenn Beck handles the politics of this rally, political experts on all sides will be studying the size of the crowd he draws. The large or small, the turnout here tomorrow will be viewed as a test of the Tea Party's muscle. Erica?
Wyatt, thanks.
You ever done an AIPAC deep dive? It comes up so much, it may be worth it. Yeah, I might. I can add it to the list of things, but we already got so many things we need to go over after this J6 shit. I'm so burnt out after the Epstein stuff, though. That all that conspiracy was so disappointing to me that now I just don't give a. Now I don't know if there are any interesting conspiracies. The JFK one actually seems a little bit boring too, but maybe a little bit more interesting. I don't know. We'll find a good one to look up. All right. Yeah, the Ray Epps stuff was so dumb. My God. Did you hear about how the Pentagon ran secret anti-vax campaign to undermine China during the pandemic? Oh, yeah. I think they were trying to put out... It wasn't technically an anti-vax campaign, but I think it was trying to shit on... I thought it wasn't China. I thought it was in the Dominican. Am I making that up? They tried to propagandize some other person's vaccine in favor of ours, I think, in some country. Or was it the Philippines? Maybe it was the Philippines. Yeah, I don't know. Jill Stein heavily implied AIPAC killed JFK in your panel. I don't know if an ordinary person would have caught that, Erwin, but yeah, that was the next line of what she is supposed to say, but she didn't get there, thankfully. I don't know enough to dispute that one, but that's a really common thing that the reason why JFK got assassinated by the CIA was because JFK was about to put limits on some Jewish stuff. I don't know if it was AIPAC or something else. But then I've also heard the conspiracy that because he didn't want to go through with the... Was it Cuban Missile Crisis? Is this even the right timeline? Hold on. That was why he didn't... that was why they assassinated him as well, because of his response to the Cuban Missile Crisis, and he didn't go hard enough. I don't know, though. Yeah, apparently JFK got killed for like 52 different reasons or something. What do you think Trump's strategy is going into this debate? I have no idea. But it's a very scary position to be in now. I see like how scary it is for the Democrats. Harris has all the momentum behind her, or at least she did. I think it's probably chilled out a little bit now. But Trump, I don't think has had a good showing for almost anything for a while. So he's got like an opportunity to make a big showing as long as he doesn't completely fuck it up. And now Harris has a lot of big expectations because she's supposed to be the one taking over Biden's position, so she needs to have a really good showing. So the bar is already set, so that as long as Trump just does okay, I think he comes out a winner. And if Harris fucks up anything, then Harris is in big trouble. So who knows? We'll see. I think that what Harris needs to do is Harris needs to take on as many black... If I was her coach... Like that one Twitter post, this is what I would tell Harris. You need to act as black as possible in the most stereotypical manner possible on that stage in the hopes that if you can just bait one N-word out of Trump, it's over. Get him to call you the N-word on stage and you've got it. Okay? Whatever you have to do to pull that out of him, that should be the strategy. That would be based. This guy, okay, Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince guy, he does look like me, right? Or do I just see myself as Arab now after my time in the Middle East? This guy? Wait, that picture didn't. That one doesn't. That one kind of does. This does a bit more. Well, there's like one picture of him where it looks like he's posing as me. He's trying to look like me. People always post it. Where is it? Okay, now it doesn't exist. Or am I thinking of a Photoshop picture of him that I've seen? Wait, hold on. Now I'm not actually sure. Wait, is this a real picture of him? Or is this one like touched up to look like me? Okay, never mind. That's why it looks like me then. Wait, is this touched up? Okay, hold on. Oh, you motherfuckers. Wait. Yeah. Right? I can't tell. I truly don't know. I have no idea which guy I'm about to talk to. I hope this conversation doesn't suck.
Jews print the money.
You're serious? Absolutely. Do your research. You're retarded. 60 Israelis were arrested on 9/11. They were. Michael Chertoff sent them back to Israel. Do you know who he is? Yeah, he was our former Homeland Security. Exactly. Dual citizen. Completely untrustworthy. Yeah, dual citizen of Israel. We have 100 dual Israeli citizens writing laws to take our way of freedom of speech and our gun rights. Are you for that? Yeah, you're a little biased, aren't you? Don't you think? No, our country's a little biased because guess what? We don't have any other dual citizens besides Israelis passing fucking laws. No dual Mexicans, no dual English, only dual Israelis. Is there a reason for that? What's the reason for that? If you can...
This conspiracy got brought up about like serving in the military, I think, or passing like an SF 86. Standard Form 86 is the one you fill up for a security clearance. I think Myron brought it up, and everyone else bring it up, saying Israelis are the only dual citizens allowed to get a security clearance. That's just not true. I don't know where that talking point even comes from. It seems like that was literally just pulled out of thin air. I don't know where that comes from. I don't know if that's kind of what he's referring to here, but...
English, only dual Israelis. Is there a reason for that? What's the reason for that? If you can make a debate, you can argue something, you still argue both sides. I am arguing. Why don't we have dual Mexicans running a law? Why don't we? Why don't we? Because we're totally controlled by it. No, you tell me what the other side. Why are we fighting wars in Israel? I'm asking you, tell me what the other side of the debate is. If you don't know it, what are you talking about? If you don't know how to debate, what are you debating? This? No, tell me what the other side of the debate is. The answers to your question. What is the question you're asking? I'm telling you. You're coming up to me. What's the problem? I'm telling you that it's bullshit stuff. Okay, research it. Retard. It's provocative. Good. Research it, retard. I'm telling you. Research it, retard. You said you research it. Tell me what the opposite side is. Who funds Black Lives Matter? Tell me who. George Soros. Is he Muslim? Is he Chinese? Is he Mexican? George Soros thing.
Oh, never mind. Apparently this thing got canceled today. All right.
Oh, you don't think he's Jewish? Of course he's Jewish. Okay, who else is Jewish? He's a great guy, too, by the way. He's a great guy. Yeah, he funds all sorts of charitable work throughout the fucking world. Go to Thailand and see what they say about him when he crashed their economy, you fucking retard.
What?
Go to Thailand and see what they say about him when he crashed their economy.
George Soros single-handedly destroyed the economy of Thailand. Is that true?
You fucking retard. Conspiracy theorists aren't going to. Oh, conspiracy theorists. CIA told me to say that. I watch mainstream media ran by Jews. Shut the fuck up, faggot.
Okay. Oh, whatever thing I was having in 10 minutes just got canceled, so thank God. Time to get a Red Bull. Let's go.